Hey folks, we're out at the Beehives today. We got a couple projects going on. The first thing we're going to do is build and rebuild the stands that the hives are actually sitting on. Get a little bit better structure. You'll see what we're doing as we do it here. And then the last thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding honey supers to all of the hives for the honey. I'll go through that process as we do it, explain the difference between the supers, the brood boxes, where we're placing them and why. And so let's get to work. If you've seen any of my videos before, you know that we're all about doing things, whether it's the bees or the chickens or just stuff for a house on a budget. These cinder blocks here, we happen to be at an estate sale about a year ago, and these weren't necessarily for sale, I don't think, but we saw them there and we were like, well, how much do you want for the cinder blocks? And they said, oh, just take them. So just another part of our budget homesteading stuff is finding stuff for free and cheap, so don't be afraid to ask. Also, the two 4x4s that we'll be using are left over from building our new garden, so we did buy them, but luckily we had some left over and we found another use for them. All right, so as you saw, we took the hives off, moved them to a temporary one in the front. We're getting this one built and set up, and then we'll move the hives back to where they were pretty much exactly, because that's what you want to do. And then this will be what we move over for the other ones to build their permanent one. So we're grabbing a shovel just so that we can, you know, even out that, and so they sit good. But that was the idea, to scoot that to the front, build this one, and then scoot the hives back. All right, we got the stand here where we want it. It's level in the sense that it's not actually level. It slants down this way, which is what we want. That way any moisture, any condensation that builds into the hives goes to the front and then goes out the entrance to keep the hives dry inside. So it's, I guess, what I would call hive level. So it's got a slight nosedive, time to move them back over. Okay, the new stands are complete. We got the two over there and then the two over here. Now what we're going to be doing is adding supers to these hives. Now the way we're going to do it is we're going to lift this top super off, put a new one below it, and then put this top one back on with a queen excluder there, so that the top one is honey, and then the queen will be in the boxes below for the brood. And we're going to do that on these three. On this one, we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're just going to put the new super on top because couldn't find the queen. It may be queenless, which is why the cinder block is turned this way. That's how we know. If you know the queen's in there, it'll go this way. Or the queen could have made her way up to this box. We don't want to put an excluder below this box where she couldn't get back down. So for this one, just because we're unsure, we're going to put the new super just directly on top of all the boxes that are there. So once again, for these three, we're going to lift the top box off and put the new super where that one is, and then put this section back on top of that. For this one, we're just taking the lid off and then putting the new super right on top, and then putting the top back on. So a little more detail what we're doing. You can see this yellow thing that Colette's kind of got under this box here. That's the queen excluder. So the queen can't fit up into this box. So she lays her brood down here. That's where all the eggs are, where the bees are made basically. And then up above this, she can't get there. So all the boxes above that our supers that they fill with honey, and that's where we get the honey. So right now the queen is going to be in this section, and then we're putting a new one on here for them to fill with honey, and then we're putting the one that was already there on top. We're just putting the one, the reason we're stacking it that way is so that they get to the new empty one first. And it took about 10 seconds for bees to already start going to these frames. Haven't even barely got it on. I just turned the camera off and Colette lifted out those frames. So yeah, they're getting to work. Another thing to mention is that these supers that we're putting on are ones that are from last year's harvest of honey. We extracted the honey out of these frames, so they've already built the comb there last year. We just extracted the honey out. We're putting it back on, so all they really have to do is repair some comb and then get to filling it up. So that's an advantage of reusing frames and boxes from the year before. They have a lot less work to do, and they can just get to filling it with honey with some minor repairs to the comb. All right, we got 3 done here with the 3 brood boxes on the bottom and the 2 honey supers on top. And now we're doing that odd 4th one where we're actually gonna leave all 4 of these as kind of brood boxes, put the queen excluder on top with the 1 honey super there. See how that goes. I just set the box on top, Colette's getting it all aligned, making sure the frames are evenly spaced, and then we will be done with this trip with the new hive stands and new honey supers on all 4, and it went pretty successfully.